Right now, we are present at the COCOMI office in Imphal, and with us is the spokesperson of COCOMI. He's well known as someone who has been raising voice, but he's also infamous in certain areas for his voice. So we are going to speak to him. First of all, can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, my name is Khuraijam Athouba, and right now I'm also the acting Vice President of United Committee Manipur, UCM, a conglomerate organization who have been standing up for the protection of the integrity of the state of Manipur. And I'm also working in under the conglomerate of COCOMI. It's an apex body represented by more than 70 plus civil society organizations of Manipur. And right now I am acting as a spokesperson of the organization.
So first things first, the violence that we saw last year, 2023. Is very different to what we are seeing in the September month of 2024. In 2023, we saw two kinds of violence. Firstly, we saw how there were clashes between both the Kuki Zoo community as well as the Metis community, and then there was separation of the communities, and then the violence went to the peripheral areas near the border areas of the hills and the valleys. This time around, the violence is different in the sense that we are seeing aerial bombs being deployed, which increases the range of violence, which increases the area of violence. So, what is your estimation regarding the change of the nature of violence? Do you think the warfare or this crisis or the conflict has intensified? And if yes, why is this so?
Well, at the very first instance, when the violence suddenly broke out in the month of May in 2023, every one of us, including myself, we were all taken by surprise because at that very moment, I was not in Imphal. I was in Delhi. I was attending a Supreme Court case regarding the highway blockade by some other groups and all. So I was there busy working on there. But reports came in. Then after following up for another 2-3 days, I was compelled to come back home. And our COCOMI team has also already started working on the ground. At that time, we were trying to, save lives of all the communities. Like the first process of evacuation of civilians from Imphal and from Churachandpur, we were busy evacuating them from one place to another with the help of the central paramilitary forces and all. But the exchange of stranded people, evacuation of stranded people ended on 11th of May successfully. But it was quite surprise to us that on 12th of May, that is the following day, after the completion of that evacuation, that evacuation also includes the key leaders from the Kuki communities, like Kuki NP leaders, the KSO leaders, so many of them. They have been calling us and asking for evacuating them to safer places, and that's what we did. We let them get away from the danger zone and all. But on 12th of May, we were taken by surprise when the 10 MLA, which they say belongs to the Kuki community, wrote a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister of India demanding for a separate administration. So we were taken by surprise. Oh, what is it going on? Earlier we thought that, as you have just said, we thought that it was very spontaneous and there were a clash between the people who were organizing the Solidarity Peace Rally by Kuki people in Churachandpur, who came approach towards the Bishnupur district Metis settlement area, and we thought that as they have been provoked or intimidated, the other side also retaliated, so there was a sudden clash between the youths. But later on, after we tried to subside all those violence, the 10 Kuki MLA, without even considering what was actually happening, even we didn't realize it, at that time, they were very quick to resolve and demand for separate administration. So it clearly indicates something to us. Since then, we have been closely monitoring and following every narrative, every design of how they transcend from one form of violence to another design, one form of campaign to another design. So after almost, I think 7-8 months, we started understanding that, okay, it seems to be a pre-planned and predetermined form of campaign that has been carried out by those Chin Kuki narco-terrorist groups who has successfully occupied the significant areas of the hill areas of Manipur, and they have been running a drug empire inside that territory. And they have been given a kind of free hand by the central security forces, particularly the Assam Rifles, over the past couple of I think years. So it is the outcome of that situation. But now, as you have just mentioned, now that after the completion of the separation of that inhabitants from one community to another community into their safer zones, they have tried to escalate it into a very different way. It's no more a communal fight now, because from other side of the groups who are trying to assert their violence, they are now using military grade weaponaries, like the rocket missile, which can travel not less than 5-6 kilometers. This is not a joke. It's military grade armories. Then they have started using drones to drop bombs in vulnerable area. If they are capable of using aerial bombs, it means that the kind of security arrangement that we have is completely vulnerable. You don't have a device to resist aerial bombing in Manipur, because you don't have that technology or that defense mechanism as of now. So if they are escalating in that level, it clearly shows that it is no more a kind of that inter-community clashes that we often witness in the early phase of this conflict. Today it's more of a well-coordinated, militarily, strategically designed kind of combat aggression. And now it is time for the government of India and the state to declare it as a serious internal security situation, and accordingly I think they should also respond in the befitting manner.
I will also have to counter question you, because as a journalist I have to counter question you. There are certain allegations against what you are saying, and also against you, because you have been saying this for more than a year, that the Kuki community feels that you talk about Kuki insurgents, Kuki militants, but they say that since the Mete is aggressively attacking us, our boys are protecting our villages. These are village protectors, village volunteers, and it is not right to call them as Kuki militants. What is your response to this statement that the Kuki community makes or the civil society makes?
It's deceiving statement from them, because recently there was an attack in Jiribam, you know it, people died. Huh? In that attack, four of the Kuki militants also died. And yesterday itself, the state police has already verified the identity of those 4 people. Out of that 4 people, 3 of them are the cadres of Kuki Liberation Army. They came all the way from Churachandpur, walking by foot. And they are cadres who are under suspension of operation with the government of India. So there are also many other reports. And the KNO's spokesperson, Mr. Sailen Haukip, recently in a TV interview, he himself declared that the ongoing conflict in Manipur cannot be resolved by engaging between the civil society organizations. It is only the suspension of operation groups and the government of India that can resolve this crisis. He has officially stated in his interview. So what more do you need from that? They himself are declaring that.
Lastly, I would like to ask you, illegal immigration is a big issue in Northeast, not just in Manipur.
Yeah.
We are a border region surrounding Bangladesh, Myanmar, majorly. Do you think the issue of illegal immigration has got to do a big role in this conflict?
Illegal immigration is one of the root cause of this current conflict. You know why? Because there are certain groups of people belonging to this Chin Kuki narco-terrorist groups who want to establish a narcotic drug empire inside the occupied hill territories of Manipur. For that, they need populations. And since the time of the agreement of the suspension of operation in 2008, they have got the liberty to exercise any form of activities in the hill areas. And the Indian military, Indian armed forces, state forces cannot do anything as per the agreement. So they have been given free hand. Since that time, they have mobilized enough unaccounted number of population from across the border. They have already planted those populations strategically in the highways, along the highways, and also in the cluster or cluster district areas. And now they have the population to revolt, to protest, to control the highway, and that is how today they are openly coming out, and they don't even have hindered to target the Métis population today, because they have built up that. So illegal immigration is one of the key issue. And when the state government has started, preparing for NRC in Manipur, they are being threatened, because NRC will definitely identify who are these people, who are that people. And the spokesperson of ITLF himself has declared in national television interview that we are against NRC. What do you mean by that? If you are an Indian, if they say they are defending their ancestral land, they are indigenous people, their organizations' names are being called as Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, and why are you reluctant to register yourself and identify yourself under the process of NRC? So it clearly shows their duplicit attitude or character in the way they say. So illegal immigration is something state government has already initiated to tackle it. So they don't have a justifiable judicious reason to defend it. They cannot go to the court. Illegal immigrants cannot go to the court and say that we live here, we let us live here. They don't have no option. So other than resort it into a kind of political situations where they can demand politically, that's how they are trying to do it.
So this was Athouba, spokesperson of COCOMI. He had his views on the current ongoing conflict and talked about how this conflict should not be looked into a conflict between two communities, but it should be looked into a conflict which has bigger geopolitical and national consequences. With this, we wrap up this interview with video journalist Nishanto Bora. This is Nibir Deka reporting for the NewsX.